The GPS had died miles back, and my phone had no signal, all thanks to the dense canopy of trees surrounding me. Dusk was upon me, turning the forest into an ominous and eerie maze. Panic grasped me, and butterflies flit in my stomach. I was lost, more lost than I'd realized. Through the trees, I saw a grotesque silhouette. Okay, it was a building. Let me not overreact. It looked unkempt and sinister. It was tall and narrow, with a pointed roof. The house resembled a really angry-looking clown. The colors were garish, and the walls had nightmarish murals painted on the outside walls. It felt like the clown eyes of the house were watching me. I didn't feel alone. I felt watched. A shiver ran down my spine. Even lost and desperate, I hesitated. Something felt dark, off, and frightened me. I couldn't pinpoint what it was. Something felt deeply wrong about this place. Evil, even. However, the alternative could be worse. I did not want to be a snack to a wild animal. I was lost, and a night in the woods did not sound appealing. As I made a pro and con list, I stood staring at the building, the pros outweighing the cons. With a deep breath, I walked towards the building, partly paralyzed with fear, as I didn't know what lay beyond the door. As I opened the door, I was praying for safety and a phone signal. As I got closer, the details became clearer. Every window was a different shape and size, like mismatched eyes peering out. The door, a gaping maw of painted teeth, seemed to leer. Above it, a faded sign proclaimed, "The Chuckles Inn, where laughter never ends." The words, instead of welcoming, sent chills down my spine in the worst way possible. My instincts screamed at me to turn back, to run. But the deepening darkness and my growing fear of the woods spurred me forward. I told myself it was just a themed hotel, harmlessly eccentric at worst. How wrong I was. Inside, I would discover horrors beyond my wildest nightmares, including a mannequin draped in a skin suit, a grotesque reminder of the hotel's true nature. The inside of the hotel was even more unsettling than the outside. The air hung thick with the scent of dust and decay, overlaid with a sickly sweet aroma that reminded me of off candy. Cobwebs draped the corners like macabre decorations, and the only light came from flickering wall sconces that cast long dancing shadows. I stepped further inside, my footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. A bell chimed somewhere in the depths of the building, its sound high-pitched and slightly off-key, adding to the unsettling atmosphere. I waited for a few moments, but no one appeared. The silence was broken only by the creaking of the building and the frantic thumping of my own heart. "Hello?" I called out, my voice shaking and echoing strangely in the stillness. "Is anyone here?" The sound of my own voice startled me, seeming to amplify the silence that followed. I took a tentative step forward, my hand reaching out to ring the bell on the dusty reception desk. As my fingers brushed against the cold metal, I heard a sound that made my blood run cold. A soft, throaty chuckle, seeming to come from the shadows at the top of the grand staircase. My head snapped up, my eyes straining to pierce the darkness. That's when I saw them. Two figures emerged from the shadows, their faces grotesque masks of white paint and exaggerated features. One wore a garish rainbow wig, the other a tattered top hat. Their smiles were wide and unnerving, their eyes cold, empty and full of evil. Clowns. my breath caught in my throat, a primal fear gripping me. These weren't the playful figures of children's parties. These were something else entirely, something sinister and predatory. "Welcome, welcome," one of them rasped, his voice like nails on a chalkboard, "to the Chuckles Inn." They smiled and tilted their heads to the left in sync. Their painted smiles widened, revealing rows of teeth that seemed too sharp, too pointed. I knew in that moment that I was in terrible danger. They moved closer, their movements jerky and unnatural, like puppets with tangled strings. I didn't wait to see what they wanted. I looked at the door I had entered from, but it had vanished. Spinning on my heel, I ran towards the back of the lobby, adrenaline surging through my veins. A heavy velvet curtain blocked a doorway, and I lunged for it, ripping it aside and stumbling through. Behind me, I heard the clatter of something falling and the chilling sound of their laughter, echoing like a death knell. I didn't dare look back. I had to get out of this nightmare hotel, and fast. Otherwise, I may not make it out alive. Section 4. The Tunnel of Despair. The room behind the curtain was a dusty dining hall, long abandoned. Tables lay overturned, chairs lay broken on the floor, and cobwebs hung from the chandeliers like ghostly shrouds. I could hear the clowns' psychotic laughter getting closer, their heavy footsteps pounding in pursuit. Panic clawed at my throat, choking off any hope of a coherent plan. There had to be another way out, some escape from this madness. My eyes darted around the room, searching for any sign of an exit. Then I saw it. A small, almost hidden door beneath a tattered tapestry depicting a jester juggling skulls. It was a long shot, but it was my only hope. I scrambled towards it, my fingers fumbling with the rusty latch. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow descending tunnel shrouded in darkness. The air that wafted from it was stale and cold, carrying the faint scent of damp earth. It wasn't ideal, but it was an escape route. I slipped into the tunnel, the rough stone walls closing in around me. The darkness was absolute, swallowing the sounds of the clown's pursuit. My breath echoed in my ears, the only sound in the suffocating silence. I stumbled forward, my hands outstretched, feeling my way through the darkness. The floor sloped downward, the air growing colder and damper with each step. Fear, sharp and cold, wrapped around me like a shroud. This wasn't an escape route, I realized with a sickening certainty. It was a trap. Section 5. No Way Out. The tunnel opened into a larger chamber, the air thick with the smell of mildew and something faintly metallic. A single flickering light bulb cast grotesque shadows on the walls, revealing strange symbols and diagrams scrawled in what looked like dried blood. My stomach churned. This wasn't just a hotel, it was a place of madness, a temple dedicated to some dark and twisted deity. And then I saw them. The clowns. They stood in the center of the chamber, their painted faces illuminated by the flickering light. In their hands, they held wickedly curved knives, their blades glinting ominously. They had been expecting me. "You shouldn't have come here," one of the clowns hissed, his voice a raspy whisper. "But now that you're here, you're going to help us with our little project." Terror froze me in place. my mind struggling to comprehend the scene unfolding before me. The clowns advanced, their smiles widening into grotesque, predatory grins. I was trapped, with nowhere left to run. This tomb was my final resting place. They made a skin suit out of me. I can help you escape. I've explored this house for years now. I know a way out for you. You have to stop crying now so you don't share the same fate as me. The young girl crying silently in the cupboard was visibility shaken. She nodded. She stifled her tears and got up. I walked her to a window I'd found a year ago and explained to her how to open it. She pulled the lever, and I saw the tree that was out front when I walked in here years ago. She turned and thanked me and asked me what she can do for me. I told her to tell the police where my body was and to send them to this place. The police found me in the end. They returned my body to my family, minus the skin suit. That disappeared along with the clowns.